The border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland has been a contentious point of debate between Brussels and Westminster ever since the UK voted to leave in 2016. The issue now poses Theresa May, her biggest challenge as she attempts to lead the UK out of the EU, with increasing frustration building in Dublin, Belfast and Brussels at the lack of a workable solution for the border. The EU maintained that no hard border can be erected on the island of Ireland, something Britain has accepted in order to push forward with talks on the future relationship. However, Mrs. May and her Brexit team have so far been unable to satisfy the EU with a proposal to how the border on the island of Ireland will remain soft. With talks resuming between the UK and EU after Easter, on April 6, here are the lesser-known but key names to watch out for as the EU's deadline to resolve the issue hurdles closer. Get a BREXIT news. 5 negotiators to watch out for as talks continue. 1. Ollie Robbins. Mrs. May's EU Sherpa, known to some as the real Brexit secretary, wields immense power, which gives him a seat by the Prime Minister's side at all the main Brexit meetings. He is the UK's main man in Brussels for day-to-day Brexit negotiations, having left David Davis's Brexit department to work for the Prime Minister directly. With the official title of the Prime Minister's Europe Advisor, Mr. Robbins leads a small Europe unit that works closely with the Brexit department. He will meet with the European Commission's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier's deputy Sabine Weyand at the scheduled Irish border talks on April 18. 2. Sabine Weyand, the Commission's deputy chief Brexit negotiator, is a 24-year veteran at the EU body, best known for her problem-solving abilities. Ms. Weyand, ahead of being made a leading light in the EU's Brexit team, worked on salvaging the bloc's Canada and US trade deals, CETA and TTIP, as well as monitoring national government's economic and financial performance in the Commission's Secretariat General. Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker branded her one of the Commission's best and brightest. Prior to her role at the Commission, she studied at Cambridge University before completing her PhD thesis on the Commission's Common Transport Policy. This obviously saw her stroll into a Brussels role. She is an avid user of social media, often tweeting content showing Brexit in a negative light, such as sharing a recently posted article about firms seeking to avoid shipping routes to the UK as a result of the country's EU divorce. 3. John Callanan, Ireland's most senior Brexit and the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar's go-to-man on the UK's EU split. Mr. Callanan prepares Mr. Varadkar all Brexit-related issues at European Council summits. Described as very experienced and very straightforward, and was at the centre of the agreement between Brussels, Dublin and Westminster to put an initial tick next to the problem in Phase 1 of negotiations. He relayed the information that Mr. Varadkar would accept alignment as part of the first Irish border fudge to Martin Selmayr, then Jean-Claude Juncker's Chief of Staff. However, the agreement almost collapsed the UK government as the DUP were left outraged about Northern Ireland being left aligned with their neighbours in the south, potentially endangering their confidence and supply deal with the Tories. 4. Didier Sieuf's a hard-working diplomat who heads the European Council's Brexit Task Force. Under the appointment of Donald Tusk, Mr. Barnier and the Commission are seen as doing the heavy lifting on Brexit, with the Council tasked with keeping the remaining EU 27 happy. Previously Belgium's Deputy Ambassador to the EU, Mr. Ceuws is highly respected for his role in handling the Greek debt negotiations and is said to have made the breakthrough on the European patent system following a 30-year deadlock. Retired Ambassador Jean de Rye described his former deputy as always spot on. He said, apparently modest and obliging, he is capable of mastering the most complex of technical issues and understand immediately the political stakes, but at the same time bite to explain in simple words what has been discussed or decided. I have no doubt that Didier will often be able to reach a fair compromise, when, as expected, difficult negotiations reach a stalemate. 5. Sir Tim Barrow, the UK's former ambassador in Moscow, between 2011 and 2015, saw him negotiate a turbulent time between Britain and Russia, and he now is the UK's permanent representative to the EU. He started his Foreign Office career at the UK Embassy in Brussels, giving him a brilliant feel for the city where Brexit is negotiated. Britain's former ambassador to Lebanon Tom Fletcher said, "It's the toughest negotiation in our lifetime and I think he is up to it. I have seen him in Brussels. He knows the corridors, He knows the characters. But actually, more importantly, I saw him in Moscow, where he was incredibly resilient as ambassador there, dealing with Putin in a very testing time in our relationship, and Kim had a reputation of being bulletproof out there.